When father and mother both contribute in establishing the institution of family, why is it so that the children take up the name and the Gotra of father alone? Let's take up the topic of Gotra first. The Gotra is a system which connects a person with his most ancient or root ancestor in an unbroken male lineage. For instance, if a person says that he belongs to the Bharadwaja Gotra, then it means that he traces back his male ancestry to the ancient Rishi Bharadwaja. So, Gotra refers to the root person in one's male lineage. That is, the Gotra system in Sanatana Dharma is a male lineage identifier. This Gotra system helps one identify his male lineage and is passed down automatically from father to son. But the Gotra system does not get automatically passed down from father to daughter. Suppose a person with Angirasa Gotra has a son, and the son gets married to a girl whose father belongs to Srivatsa Gotra. The Gotra of the girl automatically is said to become Angirasa after her marriage, even though her father belonged to Srivatsa Gotra. So, the rule of the Gotra system is that the Gotra of a man remains the same, while the Gotra of the woman becomes the Gotra of her husband after marriage. What happens if a person has only daughters and no sons? In that case, his Gotra will end with him in that lineage, because his daughters will belong to the Gotras of their husbands after their marriage. Now, one may conclude that our ancient system discriminates against women. In order to understand the ancient Gotra system, we have to know what the modern science tells us, specifically on the topic of chromosomes and genes. Humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and in each pair, one chromosome comes from the father and the other comes from the mother. So, in all, we have 46 chromosomes in every cell, of which 23 come from the mother and 23 from the father. Of these 23 pairs, there is one pair called the sex chromosomes, which decide the gender of the person. X chromosome decides the female attributes of a person, and Y chromosome decides the male attributes of a person. During conception, if the resultant cell has a sex chromosomes as XX, then the child will be a girl. And if it is XY, then the child will be a boy. Since only men have Y chromosomes, son always gets his Y chromosome from his father and the X chromosome from his mother. On the other hand, daughters always get their X chromosomes, one each, both from father and mother. So, the Y chromosome is always preserved throughout a male lineage, from father to son to grandson, etc. Because a son always gets the Y chromosome from his father. On the other hand, the X chromosome is not preserved in the female lineage, mother to granddaughter, mother to daughter to granddaughter, and so on, because it comes from both father and mother. A mother will pass either her mother's X chromosome to her children or her father's X chromosome to her children, or a combination of both, because of both her X chromosomes getting mixed. In contrast, a son always gets his father's Y chromosome, and that too almost intact without any changes, because there is no corresponding another Y chromosome in his cells. Thus, Y chromosome is the only chromosome which gets passed down between the men in a lineage. Women never get this Y chromosome in their body, and hence Y chromosome plays a crucial role in modern genetics in identifying the male ancestry of a person. And our ancient Gotra system was designed to track down the root Y chromosome of a person quite easily. If a person belongs to Bharadvaja Gotra, then it means that his Y chromosome came all the way down over thousands of years of time span from the Rishi Bharadvaja. This also makes it clear why females are said to belong to the Gotra of their husbands after marriage. That is because women do not carry the Y chromosome, and their sons will carry the Y chromosome of the father, and hence the Gotra of a woman is said to be that of her husband after marriage. So, no discrimination whatsoever in our Sanatana Dharma. In fact, women were given due importance in all walks of life, and their contribution to the family was recognized as even more vital than men. With regard to the topic of naming the children, names are the result of conventions that evolved thousands of years ago. In ancient India, one generally went by a single name, such as Vasishta, Parashara, Agastya, Bharata. Using several such single names for important figures was quite common. Also, people were referred to on the basis of either father's or mother's names. Examples for names based on father's names are Vasudeva, son of Vasudeva; Dasharathi, son of Dasharatha; Janaki, daughter of Janaka; Draupadi, daughter of Drupada. Examples for names based on mother's names are Devaki Nandana, son of Devaki; Radheya, son of Radha; Kaunteya, son of Kunti. Children taking on father's name as their surname is not really an ancient practice. This became a recent tradition, and that too only in some parts of Bharat. Again, not based on any agenda to discriminate women. On the topic of naming children, Vishnu Purana gives two simple rules. 1, the first name should be of Bhagavan's. 2, the surname should indicate the lineage. Matrudevo bhava, Pitrudevo bhava, Acharya devo bhava. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.